that is so good. I would just about rather eat my soup than anything on earth. Hi, it's Healthful Hints from Carrie Ellis, and here we are with Super Immunity Soup. Everybody's heard of chicken soup for when you're sick, and this is beyond chicken soup. Many of us live in northern climates. It's winter in North America, winter in the northern hemisphere of the world, and many people struggle with being sick in the wintertime. So this is a way to really support your immune system and help fortify the body in order to be really well. Of course, there are things beyond soup which have to do with cleansing and simple diet, but we won't get into those right this second. Right now, we are going to make a noodle soup that you might put in the category of chicken noodle soup, but is going to be way more nourishing and healing to support the immune system. So we started out with a beautiful broth that we made today. It is yummy and bubbling away here. And what goes in the broth, it's important to learn these ingredients of Super Immunity Soup and have them in your house. Sometimes people say to me, man, that's a long list. But you know, the list is pretty it's pretty good, simple stuff, things you can get in the grocery store or at your local natural food store. One of the things that we start out with is ginger. So everybody's seen a ginger root. So we take a couple of big chunks of ginger and we drop them into the broth that we're cooking. I like to keep it in big chunks because ginger can be kind of hot, and it's nice to pull it out before you eat the soup. It's a cultivated taste. Some of us like to eat it. Next we put in, this is elephant garlic, and I like the elephant garlic because the cloves are easier to peel. So these are cloves right here. So we would peel these cloves of garlic and slice up the clove, chop it up, and put it into the soup after we peel it. So 2 or 3 or 4 cloves of garlic. And once it simmers, it doesn't taste so garlicky. It gives it a great hearty taste. And believe it or not, garlic has an element in it called alicillin, which is very similar to penicillin. So this is something that really can help the body fight viruses and bacteria. Onion. Onions are great, so we chop up 1 whole onion, purple, red, take your pick, whatever you have, dice it up, a way that's really easy to eat, and then you'd put that into the broth. I already made this broth earlier today, so I'm reviewing how we make it. Along with these fresh things, oregano is a great antibacterial, antiviral, antifungal, and we take oregano, and I actually buy this stuff by the big bag full, and we put a couple of heaping tablespoons of oregano into the broth. Another ingredient is chilies, and I have green chili powder, red chili powder, and you can use medium, mild, or hot. Hot, if you're using hot, be careful, but medium or mild is nice. And ground red chilies. So anywhere between a half a teaspoon of, say, green chili powder, half a teaspoon of red chili powder, and I love this crushed red chili. It's just a really nice ingredient in there. So I'm going to go ahead and add that additionally to what I already have in. So we have the chili powders, and you know, you're going to go by what your family's tastes are, if they like it a little more hot or a little less. We like things a little spicy here because we live in the Southwest. Curry powder. People in India don't have as much refrigeration as we do in the West, or haven't over the centuries, and they cultivated curry powder, an incredible blend of spices that really helps protect the body against microorganisms. So we put a big heaping teaspoon of curry, and you might say, well, I don't know if I like curry, but once you put it into a soup like this, it relatively disappears, and it just becomes one of the ingredients that gives it a robust flavor. Cumin is another one of those great Indian spices, and so we put a nice spoonful of cumin powder in. And this is coriander. We're not going to put this in this particular soup, but it is another ingredient that I use on a regular basis. So we've got this broth bubbling away. I started it about an hour ago, and the ginger and the garlic and the onions and the herbs and spices are simmering. It smells really good. So what we're going to add to it at this point are some noodles, and so we're going to have noodle soup. And these noodles are rice noodles. Many people have sensitivities to wheat and other grains, so I like using rice noodles in a soup, and I've bought these rice noodles from an Oriental market. You can usually find them at your grocery store, and I like to break them up a little bit as I put them in. which just makes them easier to eat. So we break them up into smaller pieces. Just crunch them up with your hands. They're kind of crunchy. It's easy to do. And add a good amount of those. This is about a 4-quart soup pot. So in here we've got about 2.5 quarts of water that we started out with. So we're going to add a few more noodles. And these noodles barely need to cook. They're actually simmering here. And then we're going to add another really fresh ingredient that is yummy, that doesn't take much cooking and will really fortify your body, and that is spinach. So I've washed, you know, spinach can be real sandy, but this is fresh spinach, fresh organic spinach from the market, and we're going to take some big handfuls of spinach. It will shrink down and get a lot smaller. So I've already chopped the spinach up, washed it, chopped it, and we'll put it in there. Stir it, and this is barely going to need to cook anymore. We'll just let these ingredients meld together for about 5 minutes on a really low heat, or we can even turn the heat off. And then some of the things I like to add at the end for seasoning, when you look at my recipes, you'll see soy sauce in there. I love using namashoyu, which is one of the only raw soy sauces there is. And it helps give that kind of meaty flavor that we're used to in soup broth that we think we want to have when we have a soup. But you can use regular soy sauce. Find a variety you like, preferably organic and natural. But I put a couple of capfuls, which might be a couple of tablespoons of namashoyu raw soy sauce in here. We're going to put a little bit of olive oil because we're used to having a little oil in soup, and this is a really high quality virgin oil. We don't really want to cook that much, so we add it right at the end. And then another ingredient I love is umi plum vinegar, and it's an Oriental seasoning. Again, it's a little salty and a little sour, and you can generally find that in your natural food store. So umi plum vinegar, olive oil, and soy sauce, and we have this really wonderful soup that is just making itself here. The broth has been cooked, but these other ingredients are just kind of blending together in the warm water, so it's barely cooked. A bowl of that soup, and just see how yummy that is. And this can be the main replacement for that famous chicken noodle soup. And remember, in the wintertime when you're having soup, a good way to round out a meal is to have a salad, or I made some carrot juice, and we can actually have a nice glass of carrot juice. It gives us fresh, raw, living enzymes, vital food, and gives us a really healthy, nourishing, very light meal that will help our body be more strong in the area of protecting itself in the wintertime. Have a good one.